It's Margaret, your resident thanatologist specializing in all things death, dying, and grief related. I am also a licensed professional counselor in Colorado and a somatic experiencing practitioner. I am here to dive into all things death and grief related, so get cozy because today we are going to talk about continuing bonds. Continuing bonds is one of my favorite parts about grief work because it really is how do we continue to connect with the person that has died. So I hope you're ready. Get pen and paper, pause if you need, because I got a whole bunch and I have my list right here. So if you see me glancing over, it's because I don't want to forget anything because there's so many wonderful ways that you can continue your bond with your deceased. And this can be really powerful in our grief work because it helps give meaning to our life. It helps us remember the deceased and just, engage in life because isn't that why we're all here? Okay, so let's get going. So, one thing you can do is make a memory quilt where you use fabrics that remind you of them or that they owned, old t shirts, favorite band tees that they might have had, clothing that they used to wear. I know somebody that has a jean quilt from somebody that passed on. So, yeah, making a memory quilt. Along these same lines, there's also a memory blanket where you can send photos, quotes, affirmations in, and they print that on the blanket. You can also do like a memory pillow, like the quilt, or like the blanket. Then there's a memorial jewelry. So this is really fun too because you can use photos, little items, trinkets that they might have owned, objects that remind you of them. Some people do fingerprints. A memory jar or box, that's where you put notes, stories, memories, even pictures, items that remind you of the deceased in a jar or box. You can plant a tree or a memorial garden. You can do a memory scrapbook. So again, and here's cards, pictures, stories, mementos, memories, memorabilia, quotes, letters, all the stuff that connects you to the deceased. A memorial candle. I like to get the 7-day candles, and then you can like print pictures or quotes or affirmations. And there's also places that can custom make candles for you. And you can also drip like their favorite scents in there, essential oils and such. Be careful, you don't want to start a fire, so check the flammability first. A shadow box where you can put keepsakes, photos, their favorite book, jewelry, any kind of thing that connects you to the deceased. You can do a memory stone path where you take the flat stones and then you paint or draw or write on them their quotes that remind you of them, affirmations. You can do a recipe tribute book, or I have a box, like one of those old recipe boxes that have all my ancestors, all my family recipes in it. And in your recipe tribute book, you can include their recipes and then also recipes that remind you of the person. A memorial playlist. So their favorite songs, your songs that remind you of them, shared music together. You can have a personal wind chime made. You can develop a memorial website. You can do a memorial collage and or a video. You can create a time capsule. You can name a star. You can actually have either their voice placed in a record, or you can get a record of like maybe their favorite music and have their ashes pressed into the record. You could host a walk. You can make your own perfume. You can wear their perfume. One of my favorites is my mom was really into Legos. So after she passed, I created a little minifig of my mom. She was really into tarot, so that's why there's the tarot card. And then I also have a minifig of my dad, and these sit on my ancestor altar. So that's one way I engage with my grief is I have a special place dedicated just to my deceased family members and ancestors. I have their pictures up there. I have these minifigs. I have other little trinkets, some jewelry, some stuff that they own, some stuff that reminds me of them. If you do an ancestor altar, this is another really cool way that you can connect to your heritage, to your roots, to your culture. Look up like Who are you? What are you made of? What cultures do you come from? And look to see if they have any specific guidelines or requirements. One thing I know from my studies is that an ancestor altar is for the dead. So there's no pictures of the living up there. A lot of cultures also use water, clean water, as a vessel to help the spirits pass back and forth. Another important thing is to offer food, drinks. So I know my deceased loved ones love coffee, so I often give them a cup of coffee. Also, if I'm making a traditional family a restaurant recipe, I will leave them a plate up there. Make sure you keep this space clean because this is a place to honor grief and your deceased loved ones. Another thing you can do is a journal. You can write letters to them. You can write your thoughts, your experiences if you're missing them. I have also worked with people that have in their journals written letters to the deceased and then had the deceased write back to them. This can be really powerful, especially if we're processing some of those not so feel good emotions, our anger, our guilt, our shame. This can be a place that we can work through those emotions. So I'd love to hear from you. How do you continue the bonds with your deceased loved ones? What does that look like for you? What has worked for you? So remember, grief and death are a part of the human experience, and it's okay to take things one day at a time. If you have any thoughts, questions you want to share about your experiences, I'd love to hear from you. So drop a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow for more conversations on death, dying, and grief. In the meantime, take care of yourself, stay curious, stay connected, and keep exploring the depths with me, which leads me to next time I will be discussing with you how to support a grieving child. Thank you.